everybody, welcome back to the Fabric Beautique. I am Natita, the author of the book Wives Still Pray, as well as the owner of the Fabric Beautique. It has been a little while. I first want to welcome all of those who are new to the channel. I thank you for subscribing and I thank you for coming on. I thank you if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. As many of you may know, I do typically upload every single Wednesday, one day a week, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It has been a few weeks. I believe it was early April since my last upload. I believe actually the last video I uploaded was the preparations for the 2-day event, market event that was planned in early April. And so that did not happen. Unfortunately, some circumstances that came up in the family, and unexpectedly we lost my husband's mother, and definitely was not expected, and as you can imagine, threw the whole family for a loop. And so we are currently going through our grieving journey and healing journey and memories and all of that good stuff, particularly because Mother's Day is around the corner. I will say that can add an extra layer if you have lost any loved one during any time of the year, but your mom, when Mother's Day comes around, can be quite challenging. And so I will say, even through it all, God has been so good for keeping me, my husband, our family, and for those who have been praying for us. For anybody who did see the post, because I did post early April, it's been a few weeks that I will be off social media for a while, and I will be back sometime in May. And so here we are. It is the start of May, and I wanted to just start out by saying that and thank everyone again for those who have reached out, who have commented. It is greatly appreciated. We are continuing, like I said, in our grieving process and journey. And yeah, so I wanted to start out first by saying that. And then secondly, because of the situation, I was not able to vend. I had to cancel that event. And so the blessing in that is this particular venue that holds the event, they actually were able to move the payment that I made for this event to another event that I was accepted to in the fall, and which is also a 2-day event, and it's held at the same place, I believe. No, it's held in a different location. But anyway, that's not until October. That's several months away. But the blessing is I was able to transfer the money paid for that to that event. There was a fee, because it is written in the contract if you cancel, that there is a fee for cancellation and whatnot. And so, but still, the amount that was left over was significant for me to apply to that future market event, which is, it's a holiday. I do know it's a holiday event, gearing up for the holidays, which is awesome. Looking forward to that. So that obviously gives me a lot of time to plan and prepare. One of the different things that I know that I have talked about on the channel is the Fabric Boutique and the direction of the business. I do want to celebrate, yay! If you saw this also on social media, 10 years in business. And so one of the things I always intended to do was a video just answering some questions. I didn't post a Q&A, any particular questions people want to ask, but by all means you can leave them down in the comments section. But I did want to give a little bit of history of the Fabric Boutique and what the last 10 years has been like. Oh, while I am preparing all these things to talk about, I wanted to pop in and say, for those who don't know, one of the other things you might not know about me, and some of you do, for those who follow, that I sew. I make all of my own clothes, and so I make everything I talk about that I make. I usually give that historical reference so people know that I do have a history of sewing, and I actually sew handbags, wallets, all of the things. Well, one of the things that my other business that I have that I've talked about, I host a sewing retreat here in Texas. And this year was the first year of the multi-day event. It was in February. It sold out very quickly last year. And I'm so excited about it. It was such a wonderful time. It was so good to meet so many of the ladies that follow me in that business. And so I just wanted to share that here. If you are somebody who would love to sew, would learn to sew, would expand on your sewing skills and knowledge and grow in the sewing community, not just, you know, craft type items, but clothing, garments. Even if you haven't sewn a garment before, I had people who had never sewn before that came to the retreat. Same thing for 2026. However, I do have 2 instructors that I know people are so excited about, including me. And that is an instructor that will be teaching Isabel. She came this year and everybody loved her. She will be teaching her trouser fitting workshop. So excited about that, as well as an optional class. She is already coming to the retreat, but she also owns the company Bra Builders. Teach you all about bra making, everything. She is going to teach a bra class at the retreat that I will be hosting under my other business. And so if you or someone you know is interested in coming to the retreat, I will say there are payment plan options available, so you can pay monthly leading up to the retreat, but you do need to register and secure your spot. And so I am very excited about that, very excited about that. So make sure you click the description box down below and read all about that. I'll leave the link to the retreat on there and you can register. I hope to see you there, but I want to pop that in real quick before I jump into the rest of today's video. And so while I am talking and going over that, I am going to be doing some work, a little studio work, and I'll share with you what I am doing. So it's been 10 years since the Fabric Beautique has been in business. I believe it couldn't have been more than a year before that I hadn't had the LLC, but I'm sure it wasn't that long. For those who don't know, a little background about me, I am from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin in particular, and my background, my profession is an auditor, compliance manager, all of the things. And so I know I didn't go very long without having an LLC, just because my audit brain and everything, and keeping things separate, your personal separate from your business and all of that. And of course, mistakes were made along the way as a business owner. I'll talk a little bit about that, but what am I doing while I'm sitting here? So that is what I am working on. But I do want to start out by saying, because this is based off of the Fruit of the Spirit collection that dropped, and so you all, by the time you see this video, it will be live. There is a code. It will be 10-year. I'm gonna keep it simple. 10-year. I'll put it on the screen and I'll leave a link to the website down below. Use that code to get an additional 10% off anything on the website, and that discount code will be good until 11:59 on May 14th. So you have May 7th through May 14th to shop the site. Remember, you do get free shipping for any orders over $64.99. And so yeah, use the code 10-year to get an additional 10% off. But the packaging is done for the coasters. If you remember in the last video, I talked about other colors I wanted to do. I had came out with the deep purple, then there was the kind of dark fuchsia pink, but then I've also come out with the lavender, this light mint color, and this I don't know what I want to call this, it's not beige, it's more yellowish, a very light yellow. So all of these are now available on the website. I did some packaging for this. I'll get into, you know, why I'm doing this packaging in particular. You know, I bought that grid wall with hooks, and I was planning to do this anyway, and so I just made quite a few, and everything is packaged. So all of the car coasters are packaged. So jumping into the past 10 years of the Fabric Boutique. Why was the Fabric Boutique created? Where did that come from? Where did the name come from? It honestly came from God. That might sound cliche for people who follow others with Christian-based businesses, that many say that the idea, the revelation came through the Holy Spirit, that God showed them and revealed to them. And truly that's how it was. During the time that the Fabric Boutique was created, I personally was going through a difficult time in my life. My marriage was on the brink of divorce, hence the book, Wives Still Pray. It took a few years, but that book is out. And again, everything on the website is 10% off. So if you're thinking about getting that for you, yourself, or someone else, even the Wives Pray box, all of that 10% off. But it was during that time and how I spent time with God that I heard the Holy Spirit talk about the Fabric Boutique and revealing to me, showing me how I navigated pain, how I navigated uncertainty during a time in my life. And it was through a pillow. What I would usually do with my time with God always consisted of me sitting. It didn't matter if I was sitting in the chair, on the bed, on the floor. It didn't matter. I always had a pillow on my lap. I always had a highlighter. Always had a pen, annotation tabs, and a journal. And I'm just in prayer, spending time with God, hearing what God has to say, writing down what the Holy Spirit is telling me. And then the vision came during that time, during that season, of a prayer and devotional pillow. That was actually the first product. And you'll see those on the website as well. That was the very first product that was created. There were prototypes that was done. I've updated it was just maybe 2 years ago that I updated the look. I came out with the patchwork design, and so that I updated the holder on the front just a little bit, made a couple tweaks there. But yeah, so the prayer and devotional pillow comes with the highlighter, the pen. It also has a case that you can keep the pillow in if you want to keep it separate. Most of the people who have purchased it put other items in there just for carrying around or whatnot. And so the pocket on the front is to hold your journal, is to hold, maybe you have some prayer notes or whatever the case may be. And it's also, you can also wash it. You can take that off and wash the pillow outside. And then from there, it was a natural progression to a prayer journal. You will notice that my prayer journals do not have prompts in them or anything like that. They're blank pages. There might be a design here and there. In the start of the book, it has some declaration, a couple declarations in the back, some information. But the meat of the journal, the innards of the journal, are blank lines. And for me, that was how the journal I wanted to create to look, to allow for your own creativity of what you believe God is telling you, to write down all of your thoughts. And I think prompt journals, all of that are good. Those are awesome. I just felt through my own personal relationship with God that what I yearned for and wanted to learn the most and continue to want to learn and grow in is hearing God's voice without prompts, without somebody or suggesting something or telling me, but okay, what did I hear from God? I'm gonna write it down. You know, after I come out of prayer, I'm gonna look at it Where does it lead me in scripture? Where do I need to dive deeper more? Where are areas in my life that I need to continue to have spiritual warfare over, continue to pray for, or pray about? Are there certain people that I've been praying for that I need to continue to pray for, or, you know, areas in people's lives, all of that. And so for me, that's what the journal entailed. So during that time of the prototype and everything coming out, I've only had 2 versions of my prayer journal, and the latest version is a kit actually. The first journal was just the journal and the bookmark, but the kit has the bookmark, has a prayer card, has a pencil, and I think that's it included in the do those have the annotation tabs? How come I can't remember off the top of my head? I think they do. But anyway, all of that is included in the adult prayer journal kit. And then the children's prayer journal was released, and it has 5 different sections in there, and this is to help the child through the parents, of course, teaching how to pray so they can write down their own thoughts. And even though they might not understand, that's what parents are for. We're to teach and train our child in the way that they should go. And so having just the different sections, maybe because kids tend to think about certain things in a certain way. Oh, their friends, or maybe their family. And so that's how the journal for them is broken up. And then you see other accessories such as the prayer journal carrying case. That's for kids. However, one of the things I have learned through the market, doing markets and pop-ups, is a lot of adults have purchased them. As long as the design wasn't too kiddie of a design, but some really didn't care. They bought them anyway for themselves, because it has pockets on the inside, the handles, everything you can store your tablet, different things in there. And so more of all of those products will be coming. And then you saw the launch of the Wives Still Pray, obviously through my own journey, and the message that God had given me is now in book form. And then with the items that went along with that were launched in October of 2024. And then just recently is the Fruit of the Spirit collection. And so that is what we have here. So over the past 10 years, the business started out in Wisconsin. That's where the LLC was originally created. And so obviously once we moved down here to Texas, I had to get all that changed over and switched over to down here. But one of the things that was ebbs and flows about the business that I have learned and continue to learn, one of the things I have done that I done multiple times, and it took me multiple times to do this, to realize, okay, stop doing this. This is not what God is saying for you to do. And that was always jumping on the next coach, whatever's trending in the business world, or whatever anybody's, and you probably see this in your social medias. I'm not on TikTok, so I'm sure it's on TikTok, but you know, on all the different platforms, there is whatever is trending, whether it's about growing your online presence, about growing your business, maybe about doing markets, whatever the case may be, whatever is trending or the hot topic, there's all these, and some are legit, so, and some have good information, but there's always a coach, a package that somebody is selling to help you grow your channel, help you grow your following, help you this, that, and other. And so one of the things I fell into very early on, if anybody remembers, yes, I am dating myself, Periscope. Periscope was that pretty much that first platform that I would say was kind of with that whole live interaction type thing going on. And so there were so many quote unquote coaches, and let me tell you, I spent my money with people and places and programs and communications in this program, that program, this, and flying out to meet up with people. It was a learning experience. I am careful not to call it a waste of money, but at the same time, it was a waste of money. But however, the bigger picture is a very hard learning experience, putting myself in debt to try to get the coaching unlock the coaching mechanism or keys to success. When what I have learned over the more recent years, especially after we relocated, is that this was God's idea from the very beginning. One thing for sure, anything, I don't care what area of my life, be it business, be it when I was in school, anything, if I was lacking anything or did not understand something, God was always sure to send somebody in my path that would help, and that it wouldn't be a strain. And so one of the things I noticed during that time of learning and overspending for this, that, and other, was a lot of times when I signed up for those things, and this was just the Holy Spirit, I was usually pushing past my peace to try to get to an end result that I thought was meant for me based on what was trending and what everybody was saying was working for them. And that wasn't God's intention. I did it anyway. Again, I pushed past my peace to get to an end result that was somebody else's, that God didn't intend for the Fabric Boutique. I learned and heard very early on that the Fabric Boutique will be more of a front-facing business. What did that mean? I'm thinking, because again, Periscope days, it was all about leave your job, you don't need to work for anybody, da 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 da. And again, one of the things I learned along the way, which is perfectly normal, and for those entrepreneurs, small business owners, please hear me when I say this. If you happen to also love your full-time job, if you're working full-time, maybe you're working your dream job part-time, it is okay to have your business and still work. Multiple streams of income. Even for people who are on YouTube, and if you follow other business owners, you know YouTube is not their only source of income. They have sponsorships, they have affiliates, they have maybe some other content creation that they're doing that's earning them income. So why would you think that, oh, I'm just supposed to, sell online or sell at markets and that's it? That's my only stream of income. Do not feel guilty for having to or needing to still work a part-time job, either because you love what you do, you enjoy it, so why not? You just have to manage what you do for your business differently, and your time and effort and different things of that nature. Or maybe it's not something you desire to do, to be working. Don't feel like a failure because you do have to get back into the marketplace. Walk in that with confidence, knowing that, okay, this is where God is leading you, and you may have to put in different levels of work in order for what God showed you to become what it needs to be. And so I never really bought. I didn't understand why so many people, I understood later, but I never understood why people were always pushing people out of their jobs. Oh, be an entrepreneur, work for yourself, you don't have to worry about answering to anybody. And it's just not true. You do have to answer to somebody. You always are accountable to someone. Never believe when people say, oh, you can run your own business, you're not accountable to anybody, you can do what you want, do as you please. If you want to make money, you are accountable to your clients. If you want to make money, you are accountable to those who depend on you for the service or the product that you offer. Yes, I understand there is the whole have products online that can sell, that's digital, and you can make money in your sleep and all of that. Well, those digital products at some point is going to become stale and stagnant, and you're going to have to do something else new. So the idea that we never have to put in any work in order to grow our businesses, or I can make millions in my sleep, and all this other different thing, you can believe what you would like to believe, but that just never resonated with me personally. And being front facing as a business, I absolutely always loved markets. I always liked being at events, Christian events, women events, church events, pop-ups here and there. I had to learn over the years, pop-ups that did not work for me, that just was not my market. I've done markets where it was more kind of hip-hop-y, you know, hip-hop, R&B, and the type of vendors that were there. The Fabric Beautique did not need to be in those places. Because most of the time I didn't sell a thing. But that's okay. I gave it a try a couple times just to see, well, maybe, you know, it's the time of the month, or, you know, this or whatever. I'll give it a couple chances. But God said, no, I called you into a specific place. And so, yeah. Then once I started turning my focus to Christian-based events, women events, and markets that was catered around that, or like the market I'm doing I was supposed to do in April that I'm doing in October. That is a handmade market, purposely set up, that's ticketed, that people who pay to go to that event are purposely looking for unique gift ideas. And there's an opportunity for the Fabric Boutique to be in those spaces. And so but I always knew that front facing, being out in a space. One time I even did where I had my items in the shop. I only did it for a certain length of time, and I think I did it within the first year I was in business, so I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't really sell. I don't think I sold anything, maybe one or two things, and it didn't last long. I think I only did it for like a month, maybe two. And so that idea always stuck with me, but at some point I knew I want to do that again, but I wasn't sure when, where, or how that would look. And so yeah, so I'll pause real quick. One of the other things I am working on, you all know I have the acrylic bookmarks. I'll hold that up. See the acrylic bookmarks here? What I did was create backing cards. And so with the backing card, this is what the backing card looks like. And so I had the holder, and I put the acrylic bookmark in there behind the backing card. And so what I recently received in the mail was some ribbon. There was I think if you saw any of my previous videos, you know I was very particular about the type of ribbon I wanted to go through the acrylic bookmark. So I found the ribbon on Etsy. This is the company. It's called Ribbons and Spools. And so here's her card. The ribbon is absolutely beautiful. I highly suggest, if this is the type of ribbon that you're looking for, that you go out and visit her Etsy shop. I will leave a link to it down below. But I bought 2 small spools of it. And so what I'm going to do now, the backing card for the acrylic bookmark is not as tall as I want it to be. But I'm going to put those hanging tags on there again once I fold it over and hang it, because again it's going to, when I'm at markets, hang from that grid that I had showed you before. But right now I needed to put them in need to do the ribbons, and I'll get into what I am doing this for momentarily. But I'm just going to go ahead and tie this off real quick and show you what it looks like. This is absolutely perfect. Look at that, look at that. And so now we have the ribbon. Oh, that is beautiful. I am loving it. And as you can tell, the transfer, I did get the updated transfers because I wanted this to go horizontal as opposed to vertical. So I love how that turned out. So yeah, so what I am going to do as I wrap up this discussion, and I'll be sharing with you here momentarily why I am doing all of this. But the opportunity, there has been an opportunity that recently came about for the Fabric Boutique to be more front facing. I will go into that in next week's video, so you're gonna have to stay tuned because there's a lot going on. I'm quite excited about it. So this is how it will look in the packaging, and I just need to put the little hang tags on there. And so you will learn what that is next week, and then I'm going to be taking you on a wonderful journey with me as I prepare the Fabric Boutique to be more front facing. Also, I have now these will not be on the website today. They will over the next several days. So if you want to wait maybe a couple days, you can. By the weekend you should see them. But also remember, I was doing the mouse pads, and so what I did was create the backing card. This is just regular paper. I wanted to see how it would fit, and so when I do attach it, so it's in the packaging, but as you can tell, it's covering up the bottom. Even though when I attach it, it's only, this one is only 8 by 11, and so this is, whoop, that's still not looking how I want it to look. Hold on, let me adjust this. There we go. So this is how I want it to look on the inside. Once I have the dots to secure it in place, you know, so it can see mouse pad and then the name on the bottom and everything. So this is how I want it to look, but that was my first print of the backing card. And so this size does not work. That was the 8.5 by 10. So what I did was go ahead and print 8.5 by 11 to see if that would work better, and if I would like how that would look. I pretty much only needed like a 1/2 inch. I didn't need very much more room, so the mouse pad could sit in a good spot when I put the dots in there, and when it's hanging, it can sit. Yes, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So that's how that will look when it's hanging. And again, this will be the Fruit of the Spirit collection. What I plan to do is only do all of the colors I showed you for the car coasters. I am going to do for the mouse pads, but I'm only going to do 2 colors. Right now I have 3 per mouse pad, 3 colors per mouse pad, but I will do 2 for, I'm sorry, for the car coasters. So I will do 2 colors per mouse pad. So I do have enough blanks for those just to see which ones will sell. And I figure having 2 of each color will be, you know, a pretty good indication of which ones people like the most. And they all could sell equally. So yeah, you won't probably see it on the website the day that you're seeing this video, but within the week of the sale you will. So that is it for today. Again, use 10-year discount code on the Fabric Beautique website to celebrate 10 years in business. And yeah, that's all I have for now. Make sure, again, if you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because you do want to keep up with what is coming around the bend. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. You all have a blessed week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.